Okay, so we are inside the Mezquita Mosque-Cathedral. Why is it called Mosque-Cathedral? Because it was first a mosque. It was constructed as a mosque in 786 AD by one of the first caliphs, Khalifa in Islam, and later around the 12th century AD it was converted into a church, and for ever since then, for most part of it, it has remained a church, and it's huge and it's very colorful. The best thing about this place, like Hagia Sophia, is that you have while the Islamic memorabilia such as कोई आयतें वगैरह हैं अगर तो वो सारी those things have been removed, those things are not present, but the architecture itself, because the whole thing was constructed largely, initially at least, by Muslims, the architecture continues to, you would have had to demolish the whole majestic architecture, which at least didn't happen. So you will see a lot of arches, which you will associate obviously with Islamic architecture, but the pictures, of course, are all Christian. Now you see, in Islam art, there are a lot of floral patterns, but not images per se. So where you see a lot of floral patterns and devoid of images, you will know that that's also Islamic art. So huge. You cannot possibly see this place in an hour and a half. You'll have to really rush through, and if you don't want to have any pictures, then maybe within an hour or. But yeah, it's big, it's huge, and it's majestic, and yeah. So I'll just move through a lot of what I see. I have seen the whole place in the last 1.5 hours, and now I'm making this video so that I can focus somewhat on. I'll try and go everywhere, but largely. So in the middle of this entire big mosque, later around the 12th, 13th century AD, they made a church. So this whole what you see, will go inside it. That whole building, so to say, was constructed later. Otherwise, as you would imagine, there must have been a huge prayer hall, like namaz hall in between. That space would have been used to make the church. So we'll go inside that. But yeah, as you can see, a lot of great architecture. It goes on and on and on. So all of this, and so when you can imagine, when it was being converted into a church around the 12th century AD, Gothic, Romanesque, all of those architecture did come into play. So you will see a lot of Romanesque influence, a lot of Gothic, some Gothic influences too. But yeah, all of that is there. So some museum exhibits have also been kept here. That seems to be the Last Supper. Like, not the Last Supper, but because we're in Spain and not in Milan. So Mezquita, it's just amazing. So it goes on and on. I've got pictures of all of these too, so I would invite you, I'll welcome you to see my pictures too on my Facebook page, as well as on a dedicated page which I use for travel, Dream to Travel the World. Dream to Travel the World is a dedicated Facebook page that I have made. It's administered by me, which has all my travel photos, or at least the better ones, I would say, because I put the photos from my big camera onto it more than from my mobile. So as you can see, fantastic Islamic, all of this floral patterns, huge, majestic, beautiful, very, very beautiful. Let me pan to the ceiling. Yeah. So I'll just stay here for a moment. And then it goes on and on. Goes here. So one more. This is Córdoba, one of the first caliphates, Islamic caliphates was established here in the medieval times, right after Islam started, the origin of Islam. So yeah, I mean, it's I hope I'm not going too fast. The video is not hazy. This is the church extension. So all of this is pretty new, as you can see, post-Renaissance, post-modern, neoclassical, whatever you call it. So this is not the main church construction, this is the side church construction. We'll go into the main church construction, which is there. Okay. So. There's a small exhibit section.
Espérate que saldrán ahora.
Ahí hay más puestos.
Splendid, majestic, magnificent, whatever name you call it. This is the Mezquita, the Mosque-Cathedral. Constructed as a mosque in 786. 786 is also an important year in Islam, and this mosque was indeed completed. It took only 1 year to construct, as a matter of fact. So there's 785 to 786. So that itself goes on to show how evolved and the architecture of that time was, how evolved the Islamic architecture was back then. To construct something so beautiful and majestic 1400 years ago, 1300 years ago, in just 1 year of this size and shape and beauty. Imagine the imagine such a big building being constructed in India. How long would it take today? How long does it take today? And that's true about everywhere. There is that, there's corruption and whatnot. So, but yeah. So you can see lots of arches, no dearth of arches. Now we are nearing the central, what became the central church within the big building. As I mentioned earlier, this was constructed much later when the mosque was converted into a church around and after the 12th century AD. This is when, so as you can see, the outside remains the old architecture on the outside, but inside they made this magnificent, beautiful, absolutely stunning church. And so as you can see, the walls, the old walls gel so well with the new. Amazing. I'll give a 360-degree view. And now I'll pan up the way there, and now I'll pan left. And now I'll pan right. Yeah, so you can see, beautiful. So yeah, now I'll show you the other exterior. So as you can see, the old mosque wall has been assimilated so well with the new, and once more this so yeah. So now I'll probably go out. I will once again reiterate that I have clicked lots and lots of pictures of this place too, and those are all on my Facebook page as well as on my dedicated travel page on Facebook, Dream to Travel the World. You can see all those pictures along with this video on my page on Facebook as well as on my dedicated travel page, Dream to Travel the World. So yeah, today is 31st of October 2021. This is Córdoba, Mezquita, Mosque-Cathedral from Córdoba, Spain. And I'll now go out from there. As you can see, it's very, very beautiful. So now I'll go out.
Otra cosa no me queda.
So signing off from Mezquita, Córdoba, Spain, October 31, 2021.